Hey, welcome to day 6 of our 10-day mobility series. I'm here with Molly, who's going to be taking us through a posterior chain focused routine, hitting the calves, hamstrings, glutes, and a little bit of lower back. Let's get into the routine.
We're going to take a staggered lunge. We'll start with the right foot forwards, left foot back, and we're going to be on the ball of the left foot. Both legs are going to start off straight, and before we begin, we're going to think about tucking that tailbone down. So maybe there's a slight bend in the back knee, that's okay. And then all we're going to do is slowly lower that heel down towards the floor, again, just to where you feel that stretch. And then we'll slowly lift up. Every time we lift up, check that pelvis is tilted underneath, and then lower that heel back down. We'll just take this 2 more times this side. And then bending into the front knee to gently release out of that stretch, changing sides. So it can be quite a long step, just where you can keep balanced. Again, on the ball of the foot, both feet facing forwards, tuck that tailbone under, and then slowly ease that heel down. We're going to take that 3 more times, making sure every time we come up, we re-tilt that pelvis, because it's natural to just relax in that space. Good, final time. And then again, bending into that front knee, stepping it in, and again, feeling free to shake out the ankles if the calves are quite a tender spot. So we're going to come into what we call a pyramid pose now. So we're going to step that right foot forwards. If we are super tight in our legs, in our back, what I would suggest is planting 2 blocks either side of the feet. If you don't have blocks, maybe holding onto a chair or a sofa. So we're just going to step forwards, left foot's going to be back and on around about a 45-degree angle. So toes are slightly turned out. As they do, just be mindful that the hips are still facing forwards, might be a little bit wobbly. And then all we're going to do is gently tilt the hips back, lean forwards, maybe hold onto blocks either side of the foot, and we're looking for a nice long spine rather than trying to get the head down towards the toes. If you do have a little bit more flexibility, obviously you can lower the blocks if you have blocks, or maybe even placing the fingertips down onto the floor. And if it is super tight, you can add a little bit of a gentle sway forwards and back, or maybe adding a gentle bend into that front knee, as the hamstrings can be quite a tender place. And whenever we come into our stretches, just be mindful of how the breath is feeling, especially in those areas that are particularly tight. Just begin to deepen the breath and lengthen the exhale. I'm just going to stay here for 3, 2, keep breathing, last 1, and then slowly you can maybe add a bend in first to guide yourself up, and then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So again, left foot forwards, right foot back, slightly turned out around 45 degrees, but ideally the feet are still around hip width apart even though they're not next to one another. And then again, we just push the hips back, lower the hands down to where we can. Maybe the blocks need to be high, low, none at all. We're using a chair, we can have a chair in front of the body to place the hands on. There's lots of different ways you can come down into this stretch. Again, if it's really tight, you can add that gentle movement, bending into the knee and releasing. And as and when the body begins to open, maybe you come a little bit deeper, but always think about easing into a stretch rather than forcing yourself down into any position. Going to stay here for 3, 2, and 1. Again, bending into that front knee to ease off. Slowly standing yourself up, and we're going to have both feet parallel. So again, this time we're going to come into our forward fold. Block can be directly in front of the body. Again, a chair or a sofa if you don't have a block. So feet can be hip width apart, they can be slightly wider, they can be slightly narrower. It really depends on how your body feels. And all we're going to do, tuck the chin to the chest, and we're going to roll down just to where we can hang, maybe adding a soft bend into the knees. And really think about letting the head hang heavy, maybe gently shaking it yes and no. Maybe taking a gentle sway side to side with the upper body, or maybe coming into what we call a ragdoll, reaching towards the opposite elbows and then allowing yourself to refold. And then very softly, if the arms are crossed, we release the hands, retuck the chin to the chest, maybe add a soft bend into the knees, and then slowly rolling up one piece of the spine at a time until the head comes up. Maybe take a little roll through the shoulders. So we're going to repeat that 2 more times, but this time we're going to cross our right foot over our left. So it can be a little bit unsteady, so just be mindful of the balance here. As always, blocks or props can be in front. We're going to take it down exactly the same, just with a cross-legged position. So chin to chest, and then roll it down, taking your time, letting the head and shoulders be nice and heavy. We're thinking about the weight being more forward into the toes than the heels. Relax the head. Steady the breath. It can be a little bit more fiery down the sides of the legs. Going to stay for 1 more breath. And then slowly rolling up exactly the same, 1 piece of the vertebrae at a time until the head's the last thing to rise. Carefully uncross and then crossing the left leg over to repeat it 1 final time when you're ready. And just like when we had the feet parallel, you can stay still, or maybe you want to take a gentle sway, but do be mindful it can be a little bit more challenging in the balance in this cross-legged pose. Taking that final breath. And then slowly, with control, we roll it up, roll the shoulders back, unfold those legs. So we're going to come into a piriformis stretch now. What I'm going to do it from standing. If balance is a little bit challenging, if it feels too much from standing, we can take a piriformis stretch lying down on our back. So option 1, if you want to use a wall to help you balance, all we're going to do, we're going to bend our right knee up, cross the foot over the thigh, slowly bend into the hips, sending the hips back rather than just straight down. If you feel balanced, you can take the hands away, maybe begin to bend a little bit deeper. And as Tom holds it here, I'll show you a different variation as well. So we take exactly the same position with our legs. We just lie down on the back, bend the knee towards the chest, cross it over. Option 1 on the floor is here. Option 2, we can hook our hands around the back of the thighs. So we're just going to stay here for a couple more seconds, maybe seeing if you can deepen the bend, or if you're on the floor, maybe drawing the knee a little bit closer towards the chest. If we're on the floor, gently lower the foot down first, then uncross. If we're standing, carefully lengthen yourself back up and then unfold the legs. And then we're going to do it exactly the same second side, with or without that wall to balance or on the floor. So this time we lift that left leg up, cross it over, sink the hips back, breathe. Especially if we are balancing, we tend to hold our breath, makes it a little bit shaky, a little bit wobbly. So we're just going to stay here for about 15 more seconds. Maybe melting a little bit deeper each time, maybe changing the position if we need to. We stay 5, 4, 3, enjoy the wobbles, 2, 1, gently stand up, release, and just shake out those legs. The very last one, we're just going to focus a little bit more on the lower back. We're going to take a half roll down. So we just roll down to where the hands are in front of the knees. Bend the knees, place the hands on the thighs, fingers pointing in. Lengthen the spine so we've got a nice elongation. Now, if we're quite far down and we're rounding, just walk the hands a little bit further up. And we're just going to take our standing thread the needle, bringing the right fingertips onto the temple as if we're doing a salute. Lift the elbow up towards the sky and then thread it under the opposite side. Just taking it 3 times. Last time on the right. Bring the hand back onto the thigh and then straight onto the left side. Option is to stand up between sides if we do struggle with lower back tension. Final 2. Gently release the hand, slowly roll it up, coming all the way back to standing. And there we have it, that's our posterior chain released and mobilized for the day. Thank you so much for joining, can't wait to see you next time.
Make sure you check out day 7 where we're going to focus on your T-spine. That's your thoracic spine, the upper part of your back, helping your posture and helping your upper back mobility. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button, give it a like, make sure you subscribe and see you again soon for another video.